If you're winging it after the hire, you are already behind. A successful hire doesn't start on day one, it starts long before the offer letter is signed. Because the first 90 days aren't just about what you give to your assistant, they're about what you build together. A rhythm, a set of rules, and a foundation of trust. And if your assistant is waiting for direction on day one, you're not just losing time, you're teaching them to wait for you. Which means the very thing you hired them to fix, your bandwidth, stays broken. Delegation isn't a training issue, it's a leadership issue. And what you do in the first 90 days determines whether you've hired a task taker or a partner and critical thinker who protects your time, your energy, and your priorities. When I hired Cameron, I didn't just need help, I needed margin and relief. And what I didn't realize at the time is that delegation is a leadership skill, not a task list. Thankfully, it is a leadership skill and it can be learned. The early days of working with a new assistant can feel hopeful and chaotic. You want to believe they'll just get it, but clarity doesn't come by accident. In this video, I'll walk you through exactly how I onboarded my own assistant in the first 90 days, what I got right, what I missed early on, and how we turned a new hire into a strategic partnership. If you're leading a growing business and you're still the only one holding the line, this is for you. The first 30 days is all about laying the foundation. And I learned this the hard way, so here's what not to do. When I started, I would toss things over to my assistant with a ton of assumptions. In my mind, it was all so clear what it was I was asking for. But I learned very quickly that my vague communication was creating a gap for the both of us. She was unclear exactly what output and result I was looking for, and I was frustrated that things missed the mark for me. And I learned that I was actually half the equation. So now, if I hear somebody say their assistant is just okay, I immediately want to start asking about how they delegate, because that is where I screwed up. And I have seen so many leaders screw this up. I was one time coaching a leader on his frustration with his virtual assistant, and he said everything was late and he was frustrated. So I asked him to tell me how exactly he was delegating. And he said he would say things like, I need a spreadsheet done. Can you create this spreadsheet for me? And then he said, I asked her to do the spreadsheet on Tuesday, but she wouldn't give it to me until Friday. And he was upset that it took 3 days. So my next question was, well, when did you tell her you needed it by? He didn't. Turns out she thought it was a low priority and completed the task behind other work. So we agreed from that day forward, he would share exactly when he needed something and the priority of that item. You just simply say, I need it same day, or I need it tomorrow, instead of being vague. You get my points. But guess what happened? It fixed it. His so-so VA was now crushing it, and he couldn't be happier because of that one simple addition. Due dates. So now that we're past that, let's talk about those 30-day success hacks. Give your assistant access to everything. They're gonna need it. They need access to your logins, your systems, your calendar. They need to know your preferences. They need access to your contacts. And remember, trust is given. It doesn't need to be earned. Establish communication rhythms on things like what your daily check-ins look like, set up weekly one-on-ones, and keep a feedback loop going. Delegate small, recurring tasks like calendar blocks, scheduling, and travel, and this will help you build trust. And use this stage to learn each other's style and set very clear expectations. Be exact. Be specific. Include the due dates. You know, I need it by end of day and I want it in blue font. Next up, days 30 to 60. Expand ownership. Training mode and training wheels are off. Now we move from tasks to categories of work for them to own, like complete calendar management, inbox triage, and meeting prep. Create systems together, like folder structures and labeling structures and approvals to avoid double handling work. Empower your assistant to act as your gatekeeper of your time and attention. In this stage, you're saying, you make the call, here's the guideline. And don't forget to continue that feedback loop to refine and build confidence on both sides. Cameron took feedback immediately and implemented it, and it was the difference between day and night. She did not take it lightly. She knew she had a job to do, and that was to meet, or if you know Cameron, exceed my expectations. The next time, she'd send a draft for me to review to guide her and then take it from there. And guess what? She nailed it. Each small win and tweak she made led to confidence for her and honestly for me. And if by now you can't release full control of some areas, we're going to need to look at communication habits and guidelines and gaps, which could be skill set gaps, yours or theirs. Now we move on to days 60 to 90, outcomes and autonomy. If the outcome is truly to release the work, then the goal should be this: feedback, tune and adjust, let go, repeat, and on to the next task. I now ask her, what am I holding back? What else can you help me with? Where are my blinders? The true test is permission here, giving complete permission. One time I wanted to send a gift to a team member. I wanted to send warm cookies. And so the first time I delegated this to Cameron, she sent me a list of 3 cookie options. And I said to Cameron, you decide, I trust you here. And that is how it begins. You transition from task-based delegation to outcome-based delegation, such as projects and communication and reports. The outcome, the cookies were sent. We don't need to be involved with which, who, and how. You trust your assistant to run the systems without your oversight. Your role shifts. Your role is now to review and align. And in this stage, you can also conduct a delegation audit. What are you still holding on to that should be passed off? By the end, your assistant is fully embedded as a strategic partner, not just task support. If you're still carrying too much, do a delegation audit. What are you holding on to that somebody else can own? Then grab our Delegate to Elevate guide. It'll help you name what to offload, who to trust with it, and how to lead well without holding everything yourself. Because leadership isn't about doing it all, it's about building a business that works without depending on you to run every piece of it.